How to be nice to a mean person. So before I even saw this video, if you are someone that's in a situation where you have to encounter a mean person, a horrible individual, someone that's very negative and is holding you back in life in what sort of way, try to avoid those situations. But obviously I completely understand that sometimes we are forced in these situations and it's very hard to get out of them. It is perhaps due to family members being involved, it's due to work or any other environment that we can't easily get out of. And thus in this video I want to talk about things on how to make life a bit easier when you have to deal with mean people. And if you are excited and would love to see more videos like this, please consider to hit the subscribe button and leave a thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm. And with that said, let's get started. Number one, keep your voice calm. So when it comes to dealing with mean people, they tend to be very provocative. So if you're someone that's gonna raise your voice, if you're gonna allow them to have the dominant social frame, what will happen is that they will misuse this. They will take this to their own advantage and benefit from them. So every time if you're gonna raise your voice, every time that you're gonna show some sort of emotions, they're gonna misuse this and try to take advantage of you. And thus it's very important that you keep your voice calm and collected. Speak slowly and make sure that you've got control over your voice, because what this does is that it not only calms the other individual, but it also lowers the attitude towards you. And if you want to reduce any sort of future encounter when it comes to a mean person, and want a mean person to like you more, or at least respect you to some regard, it is very important to keep your voice calm. So when it comes to dealing with a mean person, it can be very emotionally overwhelming. It can be draining because it's very difficult sometimes to deal with someone that's mean, someone that's a lot of negative energy, sometimes doesn't make sense and it's all over the place. And thus it's very important that you've got control over yourself and your own frame. Don't let the other individual have an influence on your emotions. And I completely understand that they will have some sort of impact on your life, on your environment, on the choices you have to make. But don't let them distract you from your grind. Don't let them emotionally provoke you, because if they do, they're the winners and you're the loser. And thus, if you're someone that's in a situation like this and you want a mean person to like a little bit more, just take a deep breath and stay calm and collected, and sometimes accept that people are different and you don't always have to have it your way. You don't always have to try to change other individuals. Just let them live your life and live your own life. But obviously, if they encounter you and it really becomes an issue, respectfully show your boundaries. Even though they'll continue to be a mean person, next time they'll at least know that you actually are someone with boundaries. And what will happen is that they will respect you more, because a lot of times we let other individuals go over our boundaries, let them do whatever they want, and even though we don't like it, it's not as significant to actually make a big deal about it. But what will happen is that it slowly starts to build up and they will go over more boundaries, and eventually you'll just explode and you'll be very frustrated. Don't let that happen to you. Take a deep breath, and in the instant someone goes over your boundaries, don't be someone that's gonna shout at them, be very mean yourself. Just let them know, hey, these are my boundaries and I hope you respect them. And this way the other individual will respect you more, and hopefully in the future this mean person will eventually find you nicer, because the first thing you want to do is to command respect. And as you've commanded respect over time, you can make them like you more. Number 3, hold eye contact. So a lot of times when it comes to mean people, they target individuals that looks insecure. They try to target individuals that don't seem that confident, that they can take advantage of. And thus it's very important that you portray yourself as an individual that isn't insecure, an individual that knows your value. And you do this by holding eye contact, because when it comes to holding eye contact, it shows that you're actually looking at the other individual. You're not afraid of them. By simply holding eye contact, you show that you exist, that you matter. And this is very important, especially if you're dealing with a mean person. These individuals tend to be less rude, try to take less advantage of those individuals that seem confident, those individuals that can command respect, know their value. And you can get this by holding eye contact. So if you are someone that's dealing with a mean person, don't try to be afraid and look away. Don't try to avoid the encounter. Know your value, stand your ground, command respect, and you do that by holding eye contact. Number 4, control what you can control. So when talking to a mean person, obviously you can't change their worldview. Obviously you can't be this individual that changes their words. But what you can control is your reaction towards them. So it's very important that you're aware of this. So the previous points have already mentioned this. By having a calm voice, holding eye contact. But generally speaking, just keep in mind that it's very, very important that you have control over your emotions. It is very, very important that you have control over your reaction, because what will happen is that if they are doing something, if they are trying to provoke you, if you react in the wrong way, they will take advantage of you. But if you react in the right way, it can do wonders for you. You can command respect from them. And in some instances, these mean individuals completely start to change. Some individuals are mean as a defense mechanism, and once they see and once they realize that they can't penetrate towards you, they'll become normal again. They'll be more kind, they'll be nicer to you. But that only happens if you are someone that's able to control what you can control, and that's your reaction. And sometimes the reaction you need to give is that you don't need to have a reaction at all. Sometimes you need to act like that their opinion doesn't matter. I know it sounds harsh, but the reality is that those individuals that act like that they don't really care about things sometimes are those individuals that command respect due to this attitude. Number 5, laugh it off. Is this individual really that important that he or she is ruining your day? Is this individual that important that you can't think about anything else and that you're completely emotionally provoked by this individual? In most instances, it's not that deep. It's just one individual that's being mean, and it shouldn't be a big deal to begin with. Usually if someone is mean, they are insecure themselves. They've got problems going on themselves. So all you can do is to actually not take it personal. Just laugh it off. It's not a big deal. I know sometimes it can hurt, but don't take it personal. Usually when we are angry at someone, we kind of are angry at ourselves for allowing to be played. And that's usually also a thing what happens with mean individuals. There's usually some sort of psychological reason why they're acting in this way, and that's not your problem. Don't take that personal. If you focus on yourself, don't give in to their reactions. Have control over yourself by having good eye contact. Keep a low tonality and be someone that simply doesn't care. Laugh it off. You'll be in a much better spot and you won't really care about that individual. You'll be better off yourself, and over the long term you realize that usually it isn't that big of a deal. In the moment it might seem like a big deal. On the grand scheme, on a macro level, over time you realize that it wasn't a big deal at all. And those were 5 ways on how you can deal with a mean person. Obviously you don't always have to make that person like you, but I do recommend you to get respect out of them, because if you don't get respect out of them, they will misuse their power. They will try to find ways to get something out of you, and you don't want that to happen. Don't be someone that always tries to be good friends or on good terms with everyone, because the reality is we are all different. We have different values, we come from a different background, and sometimes we just simply can't work together, and that's perfectly fine. And if you're someone that can't let go of that fact, it will be very emotionally provocative for you. It will make your life a lot harder, and thus it's very important to let go. And that's pretty much the end of this video. So I hope you found it informative and useful. If you did, please leave a thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm. And if you'd like to see more videos like this in the future, please consider to hit the subscribe button and help your brother out. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I genuinely appreciate your time and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye bye.